Every single month, it happens again. You promise yourself you're going to put away whatever's left over, but by day 30, the balance is sitting near zero and you're staring at your bank app wondering where it all went. Here's the thing, you don't need to be convinced that saving money is important, you already know that. What you can't figure out is how you can work 50 hours a week and still have your account quietly empty itself before the next deposit hits. The answer isn't willpower, it isn't a better spreadsheet, it's a sequencing problem, and it has a clean fix. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why saving what's left over almost never works, the one system that does, the 4 accounts to set up in order, and the 3 situations where you should actually pump the brakes on automating. We'll look at the real dollar math, and it's uncomfortable. Here's the number that stopped me when I ran it. 2 people, same job, $60,000 a year salary, same market, 7% average annual return. Person A automates 10% of every paycheck, $500 a month, before they ever see it. Person B saves whatever's left at the end of the month. According to Federal Reserve data, that's where the average American actually manages, about 4.6% of income. That's $230 a month. After 10 years, person A, $86,000. Person B, $39,000. After 30 years, person A, $610,000. Person B, $280,000. $329,000. Same income, same market, different habit. This is not a gap you can close by picking better stocks. That is the price of sequencing. And here's what makes it worse. The $270 difference per month between those 2 people, it's not a luxury, it's not a vacation. Most of the time, it's just evaporated into subscriptions, food delivery, and things you'd struggle to name 3 weeks later. Now, here's the version everyone gets wrong. They think they pay yourself just means save more. It doesn't. It means something specific about order, and the order is the whole point. Traditional budgeting works like this. Income comes in, you pay your bills, you buy your groceries, you cover your subscriptions, and then, if anything's left, you save it. Pay yourself first flips the equation. Saving comes out first. On the day your paycheck hits automatically. Whatever lands in your checking account after that is yours to spend however you want. No guilt, no tracking, no spreadsheet. That's not just a preference, that's a behavioral design decision. Behavioral researchers call this strategic scarcity. When your checking account starts at a $3,000 balance, your brain calibrates its spending to that number. When it starts at $2,500, because $500 already left for savings, your brain recalibrates to $2,500. You don't feel a larger deprivation than you'd expect. You just spend to a lower ceiling. The technical name for this is Parkinson's law applied to money. Expenses expand to fill the available balance. If $3,000 is there, $3,000 gets spent. If $2,500 is there, $2,500 gets spent. And $500 is already in your future. Now, here's the piece that killed me when I first understood it. Every time you try to save what's left, you are making dozens of micro decisions every week. Can I afford this coffee? Should I order in tonight? Is this purchase okay? And each one slightly drains your willpower. By the time end of month arrives, decision fatigue has won. The money is gone, and you weren't even having fun spending it. Automation removes that tax. And then the system runs while you live your life. Now, the system only works if it's built in the right order. So let's talk about the waterfall. Before I give you the setup, I need to tell you the one way automation backfires. When you start paying yourself first and your savings account begins growing, something psychological happens that isn't discussed enough. The checking account that left starts to feel like permission. My savings are taken care of. This checking balance is guilt-free. That's true and it's useful. But researchers have found that people who automate savings frequently experience what they call a wealth effect illusion. Because the savings are invisible and growing, they feel richer than their actual cash position warrants. The checking account becomes a frictionless spending zone. The result, lifestyle creep continues, just on a different track. There's a fix. It's simple and it requires nothing extra except a decision to make right now. Your automated savings percentage cannot be a static number. Every time you get a raise, 1% more comes off the top before you absorb it into your lifestyle. The math on this one surprised me. If you start at 10% and add just 1% per raise for 20 years, you end up with $189,000 more than if you kept it flat at 10% on the same $60,000 income, same 7% return. 1% 1% per raise, you will not feel it. Future will. Now let's build the system. The reason most automation setups fail is not lack of discipline, it's wrong sequencing. You're funding the right things in the wrong order. Here's the waterfall in order. 1. The cash buffer. Before any investing, before any retirement contributions beyond what's required, you need 1 month of bare bones expenses sitting in your checking account permanently, not to spend as a shock absorber. This single step prevents the most common automation failure. Your automated transfer hits the day before an unexpected bill. Your checking account bounces and you end up paying overdraft fees to fund your savings. That's exactly what this buffer eliminates. For a lot of people, building this buffer is the entire first phase. Save nothing else until it exists. 2. The employer match. If your employer matches 401k contributions, even partially, capturing that match is priority 2. A 3% employer match on a $60,000 salary is $1,800 per year, free. An immediate 100% return on that dollar before the market does anything. There is no investment on earth that matches this, and most people leave it on the table because they delayed the paperwork. As of 2025, new 401k and 403b plans are now required by law to auto-enroll employees under Secure 2.0. If you joined your company recently, you may already be in, but check your default contribution rate. Most start between 3 and 10% and escalate automatically. Log in and verify, don't assume. 3. The emergency fund. Separate from your cash buffer. 3 to 6 months of actual living expenses held at an online high-yield savings account at a bank you don't use for daily spending. Different banks matter. Out of sight, slightly out of reach, no debit card linked. This is not strict. It's behavioral. Every extra click between you and that money is doing real protective work. Online banks consistently offer better rates than traditional banks. Check current rates before opening, since they shift with the market and today's numbers won't be tomorrow's. 4. Long-term investing. After the buffer, after the employer match, after a starter emergency fund is in motion, this is where the Roth IRA, additional 401k contributions, and taxable brokerage accounts live. The order is not flexible. Every time someone skips to step 4 without completing step 1, an emergency eventually forces them to liquidate investments at exactly the wrong time or go back to high interest debt. The waterfall collapses. Now here's where most videos stop. Here's where this one keeps going. Pay yourself first works for most people in most circumstances, but there are 3 specific situations where automating it aggressively right now will actively hurt you. The research is clear on this. Situation 1, you have high interest revolving debt. If you're carrying a credit card balance at 20, 25, or 30% APR, automating $500 a month into savings, earning 4 or 5% is a negative return trade every single month. Over 1 year, that $500 monthly savings habit earns you roughly $145 in interest. Meanwhile, a $5,000 credit card balance racks up about $1,250 in interest charges. You are paying $1,250 to gain $145. That is a $1,105 net loss. The minimum viable version here: automate just enough to capture the employer match, build the cash buffer, and put everything else toward the high rate debt until it's gone. I had a $4,000 in credit card debt bill not long ago. Every time I opened my credit card app, I felt it. The psychological drain of that balance, the low grade stress of knowing it's there, was its own cost. It had to go before I could properly build the system. Situation 2, your income is irregular. If you're freelance, commission-based, or have a genuinely variable paycheck, rigid fixed dollar auto transfers are dangerous. A good month followed by a slow month means your automated $500 transfer hits when the account can't support it. The fix: automate by percentage, not flat dollar amount. And time the transfer 3 to 4 days after your historic pay date, not the same day, to let funds clear. Situation 3, you're behind on essential bills. If rent, utilities, or minimum debt payments aren't current, there is no version of automation that helps before stability is restored. Every dollar has a more urgent job than savings right now. The hard truth: pay yourself first is a wealth building system. It requires a stable enough foundation to function. If that foundation isn't in place yet, the correct first move is stabilization, not automation. The 3 big mistakes. Mistake 1, automating before the cash buffer. This is the most common failure. You set up the automation you feel proud and then then a $900 dental bill arrives 2 weeks later. The automation keeps running, you borrow the dental bill on a credit card, the credit card balance starts accruing interest, you've now taken a savings habit and accidentally added a debt habit to support it. 1 month of bare bones expenses in checking first, full stop. Mistake 2, treating the save what's left problem as a willpower problem. This one costs people years. The research is consistent. Humans are not bad at saving because we're weak-willed, we're bad at saving because our brains are optimized for present rewards and underweight future costs. Every decision requires cognitive effort, and by the end of a full day, that effort is depleted. Willpower is a finite resource. Automation is not. If your plan depends on remembering or deciding or being disciplined in the evenings after a hard week with a $150 jacket in front of you, the plan will fail eventually. Not because you're failing, because you've built a system that loses to human nature. Mistake 3, the most expensive one. Not starting because the number feels too small. $25 a week feels pointless. $100 a month feels too small to matter. I get it. Here's what $500 a month automated from age 25 becomes at 65 at a 7% average return. $1.4 million. Here's what the same $500 a month becomes if you wait until 35. $610,000. The cost of that 10-year delay on the same income, same market, roughly $800,000. The conversation you keep putting off until things stabilize may be the most expensive conversation you ever avoid. Here's what this decision actually comes down to. The question is not, should I save money? You already know the answer to that. The question is, who gets your paycheck first? Right now, for most people, it's everyone else. The rent payment, the streaming services, the delivery apps, the subscriptions you haven't cancelled. And then, if anything's left, you pay yourself first reverses that order. Not because you've suddenly found discipline, because you've built a system where discipline isn't required. The verdict is this. If your essential bills are current and you have no high interest revolving debt, automate. Now, even if the number is small, start at 5 or 10%, capture your employer match, park the emergency fund in a separate high yield savings account, and schedule a review every time you get a raise to add 1% more. If you have high interest credit card debt, automate just enough to capture the employer match, build the cash buffer, and redirect everything else to the debt until it's clear. Then build the waterfall. And here's the frame I want to leave you with. Your savings account is not what you have left over after you've lived your life. It is a bill you owe to the person you'll be in 10, 20, or 30 years. That person doesn't have the option to go back and fix this month. You do. The automation doesn't know you're tired. It doesn't care that your week was hard. It runs every single time. And that, not willpower, is what wealth is actually built on. This content is for general educational purposes only. It's not personalized financial investment, tax, or legal advice. All investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results.